Hi everybody, I am so happy to see you. So I promised like some answers and some recordings, and I've been getting emails and messages, and thank you for your curiosity and your support. This is my husband Peter, who you all have heard everything about.
Hey.
And he is here because it has been a really wild time, and he is just kind of my strength and everything, and there are going to be things that I forget, and so he'll help me remember. Before I start this video, I want to show you where I am because this is my place. So let me turn this around. It won't let me, so I'll do it this way. So over there is the complex I live in, and when you cross the street, you come to like this beautiful, nearly frozen over pond that's right across the street, and we walk here. But here there's like a waterfall and these like huge rocks, and I like to come out here and I'll walk, but then I'll sit and pray and I'll meditate and I cry. I've cried a lot out here, and I'm not much of a crier, so it's interesting. So for the most part, from November until January 1st is, in general, my absolute favorite time of year. In my family, although I'm estranged from them, nearly every female in my family, my sisters and most of my nieces included, are born in the month of November. And my birthday is at the end of November, Sagittarius. And I miss seeing them and being there to celebrate face to face, but I still celebrate them. And this is the year I'm going to turn 50. So I turned 49 just a couple months ago. And I've talked before in the past about the physical health problems that began to manifest in my body from years of abuse of every nature. And I frequently have talked about the book The Body Keeps the Score, which is by Bessel van der Kolk, and it really began opening my eyes to what truly happens to the physical body when the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, where everything else is abused and neglected, regardless of what we think that we're doing, the toll that happens, especially if you've endured long-term abuse. And so for me, it was 4 decades, right? Once your body begins to stabilize, I guess, is the best word. For me, it was very hard. I had been in survival mode for so long that the cortisol levels and the problems with my thyroid, I mean, things I had never, ever had an issue with before, everything just got out of control. And at one point, I had a specialist for literally every part of my body. It was insane. Like, it was a full-time job. At the time, our youngest son was in therapies for his very premature birth. I was going through all these things. There just weren't answers at the time. And since then, especially in the last 5 years, coming out of my own denial and really getting back to the places that I needed to be, with my specialist and my team of both mental and physical specialists, allowing them to do the work that they needed and following directions and listening, which I didn't do for a very long time. You know, the places that the pain and denial and emptiness take us really looks like neglect of ourselves, while we are, ironically and very, very sadly, still trying to please the people that we believe should love us. So a few months ago, I'd lost more than half my body weight, and the weight loss wasn't stopping, to the point that it was getting really very scary. And I've got underlying conditions anyway, but nothing was staying in my body at all. So we had a GI specialist recommended to us, really great guy, is just highly regarded, really, first doctor I've really liked. And so we went in and we did, the scans and scopes and biopsies, and I was diagnosed at that time with some pretty severe GI issues that were really impacting me, and began treatment, and was still having problems. And then about 3 months ago, some other things began happening that were just worse. There's no other way to say it, that were just worse. I began getting rashes all over my body. I mean, I was itching to the point that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything. The itching was so bad. My skin was bruised. It was torn open. It was head to toe. I went through 2 rounds of oral steroids, every allergy pill that you can think of, topical steroids, nothing was working. And so when I did a follow-up appointment, I'd started to have some other kind of weird things. But one of the things that was happening was that I was having a great deal of pain in my breast, but in my left breast in particular. And I felt something that didn't feel right in my breast. And so I had her check that on when I went and did my follow-up. And they found a lump, at least a lump. And so I tend to be very just kind of straight up about things because I've been through so much. I don't usually feed into a whole lot of fear. I don't usually have a whole lot of worry about things. I've just survived enough to know that it will all work out. Maybe not the way I want it to, but it will work out. And so I went and had some tests done, and the tests didn't come out great. And so tomorrow I have to go back, and they have to do some other things. And I'll be very honest with you, I don't know what those things are. An MRI is what I know, but when I spoke with the lady today, there were 4 tests, and I don't know what they are. And I'm not choosing ignorance. It's just a place of overwhelm that I am right now. So I've decided to be open about my journey, come hell or high water. And the physical ailments and illnesses are just a very real part. And if you speak to anyone who's endured abuse, but in particular narcissistic abuse, you will find that if they have a moving body part, they probably have had an issue with it. And of course, from abusers, this is always put in terms of attention seeking or, I don't know, making stuff up, or they don't care, by the way, that we've spent all this time in the hospital. None of them ever came to see me, just how it goes, right? They don't care for any evidence or they just don't. And so on top of the illness comes just the ongoing hurt and attempt of shame and humiliation for very valid illnesses and the attempts that you're taking to try to get healthy. And so this has still been my favorite time of year, actually. For about a decade, holidays were just really hard for me. I just could never find a really good, healthy way to cope with all the things going on with my kids, you know? And I'm just like every other person who has pain or emptiness or is consumed with, you know, the what ifs and all of those things, but especially when it came to my kids, because the only goal that I had was to do nothing like what was done with me. And so I made a lot of poor choices and ignored every red flag. Actually, that's not true. I didn't ignore every red flag. I just made the mistake of being honest and saying that I was leaving. And I'll get into all of that, and I promise tonight I will drop a video and a writing about how do you know if you are with a narcissist? How do you know if kids are dealing with narcissistic abuse? What does it look like with a partner? What does it look like with somebody who you have a child with? I promise I'll give them all. But what I really wanted to do was say hello and say thank you and let you all know I really am doing fine. These things just take time and appointments and all of those things and waiting for results. And listen, I know you don't want to deal with one more thing. I really do. I know that it feels like the unknown is so much easier because I lived that way. I just went really, really fast and really, really hard until my body just completely stopped going. And then didn't have a choice. I had to really begin addressing these things. And then once we made the choice to cut ties, and once we made the choice to relocate, my healing, and I pray this for all of you, my healing and Solomon, our son's healing, was really the only priority and focus that we had. And I hope that you have a partner who understands that it's a matter of life and death. And it was that for me, and it was that for our son. I mean, it was very scary. And I promise I'll tell you more about all of this. But to see where we are, you know, about 2.5 years into this journey is like looking back and not even recognizing that person. But it also means stepping into, you know, my adult pantaloons and making appointments and showing up at appointments and pushing through and understanding that if you have anxiety, you may need to get on a med. And if you're dealing with overwhelming depression that is keeping you in bed or in the house or isolated, you may need a medication. I needed medications, you know, and to contribute to all of this, you know, I have these underlying factors like, you know, I deal with really super severe ADHD and OCD, and just, you know, I'm still incredibly hypervigilant. I'm still incredibly easy to start. I mean, I still have this dysregulation in my nervous system that I still to this day work on. And I will keep doing that. But I know that the only way to get there is to work on every area that was attempted to be destroyed. And so for me, it was my physical health, my mental health, my spiritual health, which has included my beliefs and my faith. Just you're you're attacked for who you are as a mom and as a wife and as a daughter and a friend, and none of it's legit. That's what I want you to know. I've said this and I want to keep saying it because, especially for like my ex and my mom, and now what we see, they're in a toxic family. You just don't find health, and it's sad, and it's just the way it is. They will continue, even though, like, I haven't seen, for my mom it's close to 10 years, and my sisters it's almost 8 years. So they won't stop, and here's proof that it won't stop. So estrangement from parents, parental alienation, is like the common tactic that narcissists use against the other parent. There is no co-parenting. They actually anti-parent. They are terrifying. My ex would grab my kids and disappear and not tell me. He hid my kids from me. He had my oldest son attack him and try to... he had drug dealers living with him on 2 occasions, providing my kids, and I would find out later, my nieces and nephews, with alcohol and drugs in his house. Just every way that you try to set your kids up to have success and a better life than you did, they will undo it because they want to control everything. For them, everything is about control and what they perceive as power. And if you don't believe that it works and that it lasts, my oldest sister is 4 years older than me and still rigidly controlled by power. I mean, everything. And part of it is trauma bonding, and part of it is this deal with the devil that they've made for denial and deceit in order to cope. And if you've heard my videos, that the ramifications from that are that the incestuous nature of what was experienced has continued. That was really that was our line in the sand when we found everything out, because I was shutting down. I literally couldn't function anymore. So my middle son, contacted me, I don't know, I think it was near Thanksgiving maybe. And I was so excited at first. Like, I love him so much. If you don't know the story of my son, I was brutally raped and then wasn't feeling well. It turned out I was pregnant. Love him. My mom tried to kidnap him after all this stuff, and I was falling apart. I mean, I was losing everything. I was like everything. And trusted my ex to protect and keep him, and he turned it into keeping my child and turning my child against him and getting my child to call his last name by my ex's last name, and all about control and power. And listen, they do not care. And let me tell you, they do not care. And doing everything that they're responsible for gets blamed on you. Tell stories of my life that aren't true because he doesn't know anything. But anyway, this is why I stayed hidden for so long. And it started off as what I thought was a great conversation with my son, and it turned into such vitriolic spew. that I still cannot believe the things that he said to me and that he accused me of. And it is so hurtful because I know that my kids know the truth and that they themselves are suffering right from their own pain and their own traumas but to see your kids change from these insanely loving, caring, compassionate, giving people to being instilled with the same bitterness and rage and just the desire to hurt people so that they feel better about themselves is just heartbreaking. And I didn't know what to do with that on top of everything else. So I just took some time off. And our son went to Italy, which was amazing for him. And then for our anniversary, we actually found a little cabin and just took some quiet time away, just the two of us. So we got married on New Year's, and it was such a great time, much like this. So this is a mountain ma'am, and I'm a beach babe, and let me tell ya, it's a lot of compromise. But we always find a place with water because I just have always been like a water girl, always, my whole life. And so this is right across the street, and this is where I come. And then we found another one, and it just gave me time to really accept everything that was going on with me and to actually fall harder in love with my kids, and to understand that in the same way I have to love myself for everything that I went through and endured and didn't understand, and terrible choices and all of those things, even more so is my unconditional love for my kids and my nieces and nephews, actually everyone in my family. And there is nothing I wouldn't do for them, and I know that they know that. And so I just decided that I was going to love my son even harder. I'm going to respect his boundaries. I had to actually block him, which I've never even considered before, but it was too painful to continue. And then he began hurting, his younger brother, and that's just unacceptable. And I was so shocked at his choice to do that. And so, I will come back, I promise. I've got notes. I've been writing nonstop. Actually, my publisher called today. I have to call her back. And I have all of this content. And what I'm hoping is that as I continue on this journey that we're sharing, that I'm able to share with you things that have helped me heal, like outside places and foods and all of these things that are natural healers that have allowed me to regain strength and wholeness and sense of self, and a partner who often knows me better than I do, and some really amazing close friends who know me better than I do. And that you will start to feed into those empty places lots of love and care and concern for yourself, and lots of unconditional love. And unconditional love, by the way, it does not mean reconnection. That can come. But unconditional love means first and foremost that you choose to love the person and understand the hurt, so that you understand your own hurt more and better, and that you feed into yourself in those places. And that as we walk this, I don't know, maybe we just all help each other understand more and better, and that we can do, some really great exercises that I have found have helped a lot of people. And I hope that as I get stronger and heal, that you get stronger and heal, because is exactly what someone needs to get through this moment and then the next moment. And you won't always know until you're not on and people send you emails. But you make a difference. You do. I promise that you make a difference every day. And it's not a negative difference. Don't listen to all that stuff from the past. But love yourself enough to at least go to the appointment and get like your baseline stuff. At least get blood work done and just get like a routine, physical and checkup. Know at least just like the baseline. You don't even have to do anything right away. Just know that part and show up for yourself. He didn't say a lot. I thought I was going to forget everything. I didn't.
You remembered it all.
I probably forgot lots, but so I love you. I love you today at exactly this minute, and I will continue to do that. And I will continue to love me and let you know everything that's going on. Maybe not everything, but at least updates. Thank you for your patience and your love and your understanding. And I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay.